we'll keep the chanting going. In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
In our millions, in our billions.
We are all Palestinians.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Free, free.
Palestine will never die.
Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry.
Palestine will never die.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
So just to remind people who are arriving there, what we're doing here today is we're creating a human Palestinian flag, and we're taking an aerial photograph of it. So if you're not part of the flag,
Palestine will be free.
free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Excellent. We'll just give it one more go because it's always safe. Better safe than sorry. So if you want to lower, shake it out.
It goes, 1, we are the people. 2, we won't be silent. 3, end the bombing now, 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 now. 1,
We are the people.
2,
We won't be silent.
3, the bombing now, 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 now. There's only one solution. There is only one solution. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
There is only one solution. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Occupation no more. Occupation no more.
Palestine. Palestine.
Occupation no more. Occupation no more. Israel is a terrorist state.
Israel is a terrorist state.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
There is only one solution.
Intifada rebel. Ceasefire.
Israel is a terrorist state. Israel is a terrorist state.
Will be free.
Palestine.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine. Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Gaza, Gaza, don't be quiet. Palestine will never die. Gaza, Gaza, Palestine will never die. Israeli ambassador.
Out, out, out.
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 What do we want?
Ceasefire.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Ceasefire.
When do we want it?
Now.
The sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Viva, viva.
Palestine.
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 Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free!
Message and recognition. We also need to talk about the flow of arms and military equipment into a brutal war. We need to say ceasefire now, and we need to stop fueling the fire. One of the most advanced militaries in the world is unleashing hell on earth in Gaza and deploying the most advanced weapons, the latest technology against the civilian population. The flow of weapons, the flow of dual-use goods must be stopped. Our bill, the arms embargo bill, our bill, actually, it's important to note, Ireland actually already, as a country with a record on disarmament, we already have a ban on transporting weapons and munitions and dangerous goods. But the minister can give exemptions. And the minister can choose to inspect, or he can choose not to inspect. So our bill, the arms embargo bill, said no exemptions. Or every plane, civilian plane, that may be carrying these goods must be inspected. So, the government chose to delay our bill by 6 months. 6 months! Shame. At a time when Israel said they're happy to go another 7 months in their cruel genocidal war. But to be clear, although the bill is delayed, the minister still has the power. He's been talking about looking at how he might be able to think about spot checks and get some advice. Let's be clear, the minister has the power today to demand inspections on any flight, any civilian flight that may be carrying weapons, dangerous goods or munitions. The minister has the power to stop granting exemptions, and he needs to use that power now. There is no more of the eyes wide shut approach we've had to Shannon and the transfer of weapons and the transfer of military goods. No more eyes wide shut approach. And there is nowhere where the eyes wide shut approach is clearer than on dual use. Dual use goods, which sounds so mild. Dual use goods, they may have a civilian purpose or they may have a military purpose. But let's be clear, a lot of them are technology. Technology, we're told, like that makes it okay when we know the Israeli army are using AI and algorithms to target and surveil civilians, to take out civilian infrastructure, to bomb refugee camps, to bomb hospitals, to bomb schools. Be shame! And all their technology that you're using, the most advanced military technology in the world, all their drones, all that built on the kind of dual-use ingredients that may be passing through Ireland and from Ireland, none of that technology has been used to try and avoid the murder of 15,000 children. Shame! So when we talk about dual use, let's also talk about plausible deniability. Because the government say, well, we don't think it's going to be used. It may be used for civilian purpose. But when you have a 7-fold increase from 10 million to 70 million in exports in dual-use technology, and it happens to overlap with a brutal, illegal assault on a civilian population, when you have a 7 times increase in what gets exported out of Ireland, our country, to Israel, at the time it's prosecuting these military abominations, then you have to say, there's no plausible deniability. Who are you fooling? Thinking a 7-fold increase doesn't have anything to do with what the army is doing over there. Nobody believes this. Nobody believes this. No plausible deniability, and that's why we're chanting and pushing today. We're outside the Department of Enterprise for a change, because we're saying no dual use and no double speak. No dual use and no double speak. No more pretending And we need to talk about that subtle, slow drip towards militarisation and Ireland's implication in it. Right now, there is a new fund at Europe, unfortunately, and I'm passionate about Europe, I'm pro-Europe, but let's be clear, a new fund to support the arms manufacturing industry. That hard-pressed arms manufacturing industry has got 500 million in new industrial subsidies. And some of those subsidies are going to factories we know are exporting tank shells to Israel. Shame, 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 shame. So that's one to contact your new European representatives and tell them no, no to any arms subsidies to the arms and manufacturing industry, which will make money from this as from everything. And when it comes to dual use, it's not enough to say there's people who are scrabbling to survive and there's people who are making money, and we'll do what we can for the people who are scrabbling to survive, but we won't inconvenience the people making money one bit. We need to make a stand now as Ireland. No more export licences. That's in our choice. We don't have to wait for Europe on that. We can say no dual-use exports. Nothing that leaves our country that could be used to take a life. Nothing. I just want to finish in talking just for perspective. Israel, by the way, they have their own dual-use regime. They've been stopping dual-use goods from entering Gaza for a long time. And let's look at what they consider to be dual use. From the Egyptian Red Cross, 1,200 water purifiers, 100 oxygen cylinders, an oxygen generator. They are cutting off, as dual use, water and air. Lest some person in Gaza, lest the people of Gaza might use that water and air to live. So I think it's time that we cut off the flow of arms, that we cut off the flow of dual-use goods, that we make sure, as the International Court of Justice have called us on us, do take every necessary step to stop genocide. As the UN Human Rights Council has called on us, explicitly said, no arms, no military materials. The time to stop that is right now. Thank you for being here. This is the message we need to send out.
Thank you, Senator Green, who's the Forza Assistant General Secretary. He's a long-time campaigner for the human rights of Palestinian people. Forza is Ireland's largest public sector trade union. I'm a member myself. In 2018, Forza adopted a motion supporting boycott, divestment and sanctions. David is leading the BDS campaign within Forza currently. David is also a member of the trade union Friends of Palestine and co-organised a major trade union conference in Dublin in 2019, which called on the Irish government to halt trade within Israel due to Israel's deliberate policy of killing, injuring, imprisoning and traumatising thousands of children. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much. I'm honoured to be here today, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of Forza Trade Union, but I believe I'm here to speak on behalf of the Irish trade union movements. We work as part of collective unions, and we work through the Irish trade unions. And a number of points that I will raise here today will cover multiple unions, not just Forza, and the approach that we have. But I want to start off by saying, what does it mean to be a member of a trade union? And what are the key ethoses and key things that we stand by to be trade unionists? And there's two principles that we start off with and build upon. The first is that unity is strength, and the second is an injury to one is an injury to all. That stands everywhere, irregardless of where you work. But I want to touch on a couple of points here, because there's a conversation that goes on in the media and in some areas of society that argues, why should a trade union be involved in issues like this? Should a trade union not just be doing the bread and butter stuff in the various shops, businesses, government departments, or whatever it is at that point? And in our mind, that is beyond short-sighted, because in reality, if we don't do the solidarity work we're talking about on this issue and on other issues, then on a purely personal basis, we will end up standing alone. Once the weakness are picked off, then they will come for us, and there's no question in our minds on that basis. An example is given to say, that trade union members don't pay their dues for this. Yes, they do. They pay their dues for us to represent their members and to ensure that we defend them. And in my mind, the overwhelming majority of trade union members want to do that for all workers in all areas. I use the example to say to not do this is like giving a tradesperson a bag of nails but not giving them the hammer. It is not having the information and the ability to do the job that you need to do. We argue that solidarity does not stop in a workplace. It does not stop in this sector, and it does not stop at a national border. Irregardless of where somebody's from, solidarity, we support and we stand in solidarity with all of those workers. Where somebody lives, what language they speak, what ethnicity they are, or what colour of their skin is irrelevant to this conversation. We support workers and we defend their rights and their conditions. As trade unionists, we do fight day to day in the local area. We do defend members' individual rights in those areas. But if we step back from this conversation, then we're just awaiting. The employers are organised on a global basis. If we step back from the global conversation, we are not defending our members. And I'm very proud to say that my trade union and the Irish trade union movement has never shied away from that idea that we need to be a strong voice internationally on Palestine for many years, but on many other social issues as well. It doesn't stop at our workplaces and our areas. I'm also proud of the trade unions to show what the trade unions can do when we talk about our activity in social movements at that point, and in particular the incredibly brave women who stood outside Dunnes Stores many years ago in South Africa in a very similar situation. Forza Trade Union is a relatively new trade union. Came together 6 years ago by the amalgamation of 3 different trade unions. And we did it for the clear basis. Again, unity is strength. The bigger we are, the more we can use to represent our members. We can use our resources, share our resources to ensure that we represent our members right across the different areas. But one of the first things we did when we had that conversation is, and I'm very proud to say, that 3% of all membership subs goes to international solidarity issues. Those cannot be used for any other reason, any other benefit. The use of that money is important, and we can give money towards Palestine, Ukraine and other campaigns such as this. Money is important, but it's far from the only issue. And the issue of solidarity is key for us, and how we operate, because what we do, we have a very strong active layer in Forza Trade Union. We pass multiple motions at our conference, and that's all important. But Forza in and of its own is not going to change things. We have to acknowledge that. So what we do is we work with all our other trade union brothers and sisters and unions right across Ireland. And the first way we do that is through Trade Union Friends of Palestine, an organisation that's been in place since 2005 in Ireland. As it happens, 2005 was when the BDS call was put out, Forza Palestine, and it was directly linked and tied with that at that point. Within 2 years, in 2007, through the work of TUFP, we managed to get the Irish Congress Trade Unions to support BDS. That was an important step for us, and we've used that platform on an ongoing basis. We understand that what we need to do here is to win the argument internally in the unions, but also use our force of numbers and our force of influence. The trade union movement is the biggest social society movement in Ireland, and we need to use that to educate our own members and educate people outside of that movement as well, and argue again to work with all groups who are in the interest of supporting your average worker and your average person out there at this point. We do work in particular in different areas with politicians. We've met the Palestinian support group in the Dáil and in other areas. One of our key areas that we argue for is the Occupied Territories Bill. Scandalously, it hasn't been pushed through the Dáil at this stage. On one hand, we have our political leaders arguing in favour of Palestine, yet not really doing anything meaningful. Words are cheap. They're good, they're helpful to a point, but they're cheap, and we need to go further, particularly in light of what's been happening in Palestine over the last period of time. What we also work on with is the European Trade Union Network. This is a network of trade unions right across Europe, from England, from Britain, from Norway, and from many countries still within the EU at this point. And again, it's about getting the information out. It's about sharing information, learning the lessons from what happened in other movements, and trying to build internationally, but also bringing that message back to Ireland as well. We see at the moment, in particular in places like Germany and in Britain, attempts to now make it illegal to argue and to agitate for BDS. That is a shocking development, and that's a campaign that all of us need to be involved in, not just people in Britain and Germany. Another key issue the European group gets involved in is the question to suspend the European Association Agreement with Israel. This is something that is not widely publicised because they know it's shameful from a European point of view. There is an agreement in place for the last 15 years which is a way of selling goods, selling weapons, selling information backwards and forwards through Israel. And again, it's a focal point we want to put pressure on the politicians to ensure that under no circumstances should any EU politician be supporting this agreement, when on the other hand they'll go out and speak at a rally the following day, yet not do anything about these type of agreements. I want to finish off my comments by just touching on BDS, because I believe it is the most important thing that we need to raise and push at this point. I've just mentioned the points to say there's attempts to make it illegal in Britain, in Germany, some places in the US at that point. And there's one simple reason why that is because it's effective, and it's what they most fear. It's the lessons that they've learned from what happened with South Africa at that point, and it is the key issue that we need to get involved with. In our own trade union, we passed 15 motions at our conference in the last couple of weeks in relation to Palestine. 6 of them explicitly, again, re-endorse our position about BDS and reinforce the work that we need to do. We need to do that in all of the areas. But we need to break this down to practicalities of what are we talking about here. Because what they're particularly worried about is they are worried about sanctions, they are worried about divestments, but the boycott is a huge factor that really people here can directly affect and directly involve. From a trade union point of view, first thing we need to do as trade unionists is to ensure that our pension schemes have no investments for anything got to do with Israel at that point. Where we can, we use our influence with the employers who have staff pension funds to ensure the same thing happens at that point. Other areas such as HP, Hewlett Packard, again, we're not suggesting that people throw their computers out the window, but next time you go for a new tender for new computers at that stage, you obviously avoid Hewlett Packard. G4S, groups along those lines. This is the issue that's having the effect. This is what they're afraid of. Our job here is to continue the momentum that we've been having for a period of time, but the barbarism we're seeing at the moment needs to be matched with a new form of activism, a new form of attack against what they're doing. I believe BDS is our best manner of doing that, and I support it. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. The next speaker that I'd like to invite to the stage is the talented Anya Hayden. Anya is an actor and a poet, an IPSC member, and a member of the Resistance Choir over the last many years. Anya's beautiful poetry of solidarity, resistance, and resilience link the great tradition of poetry, which is at the heart of Palestinian culture. Welcome to the stage, Anya.
I'd like to acknowledge the Palestinian poet, Mosab Abu Toha. I'm wearing his words. I'm honoured to wear his words today. Don't ever be surprised to see a rose shoulder up amongst the ruins. This is how we survive. This poem that I'm going to give you, I wrote in March in fury when Biden announced he was building a pier, a BS pier to get food in. It's called Never Again. Never again, they said, and we have the UN, ICC, ICJ, UNICEF, Human Rights Watch, Genocide Watch, all these righteous organisations to keep us safe. But here it is, happening again. Where are all of the above? Where? Israel wholesale slaughtering civilians. We're all having nightmares, but the US vetoed ceasefires again and again. Israel starving civilians, the trucks of food, life-saving supplies at the border stuck, food out of date, children losing weight, acute malnutrition, hundreds of thousands face starvation, many dead already from hunger and thirst. But Butcher Biden is going to build a pier, Gaza gas. A pier, he says, to get food in. Another occupation. Gonna take 2 months. How many kids dead by then? Let the trucks in. But there's no way to win when you're a Palestinian, because when the truck gets in, you've been waiting for days, sleeping on roads, waiting for flour, and when the truck rolls in, the bullets shower. And this once valiant father is now a dead martyr. His kids too hungry, too weak to cry. UNICEF says Israel has run their tears dry. His wife, through her grief, will gather grass, make some soup. Yes, you heard it right. In Gaza, they're eating grass. This should haunt every Irish heart. So Genocide Joe, who claims Mayo, keep our country's name out of your mouth. I hope your dreams are haunted till you're 6 feet below, like mine have been haunted since 8 months ago. And that rubble you're using to build that pier, the rubble of homes your bombs made disappear, filled with the remains of the families you killed, blood and bones, memories and dreams, made that rubble come crushing night after night down on what's left of your dark, miserable heart. 'Cause you've taken the light. You, von der Leyen, Sunak and Schultz, by letting that maniac Netanyahu run riot, you have robbed the world of any safety and peace. What a legacy for your grandkids. They will not know ease. Partners in genocide bound for The Hague. Books will be written and much deliberation. Your crimes dissected nation by nation. You'll go down like the Nazis for ethnic cleansing ideation. 'Cause you've all been involved. You've exposed yourselves a genocidal cartel. You are all bound for hell. And come the day, alhamdulillah, we'll see Palestine free. Oh yes, we will. And to this broken world, they'll say, never again, again. Free Palestine.
Thank you so much, Anya. And just on that, Anya is a fellow member of the IPSC. If anybody would like to get involved or to join the campaign, there's a stall behind you on the left-hand side, or you can find us at Ireland Palestine Solidarity Campaign online. The next speaker, and I'm delighted to introduce this speaker, is Tala Al-Ali. Tala has one of the most diverse and incredible CVs of anybody I've ever encountered. He's a Palestinian psychotherapist, an activist, a hip-hop artist, and a human rights defender. Tala lived his teenage years in the West Bank during the Second Intifada and started fighting for political change and social justice in the early 2000s through music and theatre. He then worked with civil society NGOs including Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, Action Aid, and is now working with Amnesty International in Ireland. Welcome, Tala.
Thank you, Dublin. I think after this emotional poem, it's very hard to pick it up from there. And I saw some people shedding tears in the audience, but also I would choose to use this platform to maybe have a minute of silence for also our brothers and sisters in Sudan and Congo, because the whole world is in fire as well. Again, it's very hard to pick it up from where all these great speakers lived, but there's something worth to mention. Besides the dual use equipments and license that have been issued in Ireland to import and export to Israel, in the 14 months between January 2023 and February 2024, Ireland imported goods worth of 4.22 billion from Israel. That's shameful, because of all the genocide that's been happening for many years now, and it's not the first time we come to organize protests for Palestine in Ireland after the 7th of October. We've been protesting for many years now, and still 4.22 billion is insane. And from the 7th of October until now, until February, Ireland have approved 8 dual use license for Israel, 6 of them only in 2024. I mean, that's insane. 6 dual use devices have been, or goods have been used in Ireland from Israel. And if we go back to, for example, 2014, in 2014, Israel killed over 2,200 people from Gaza on their offense on Gaza. And worth noticing as well, or noting that 25% of the homes in Gaza City have been damaged, and 80% of the homes in Beit Hanun have been damaged, and that's back in 2014. And the Irish Times reported in 2014 that in 2018 Ireland exported to Israel 8.6 million dual use items, including drones. It's shameful, and half of what they paid since 2014 until now went to companies owned by Rafael Defense System, which is owned by the Israeli government, which is now producing weapons that are being tested in Gaza. And I just to be very accurate, I want to quote few things that have been mentioned about the war in Gaza. For example, 2014 offense in Gaza, the success of the Israeli military report industry has been accredited with its marketing of field-tested weapons. And that's how they call it in Israel when they sell their weapons, field-tested, and they test it in Gaza. And 2014 offense was described as a cash cow for Israel, because they could manage to sell their weapons, and Gaza offered this opportunity to be a place for testing weapons, because everybody is turning a blind eye on Gaza since they started the blockade in 2007. And I would like to quote Yusufa Loshtizki, a professor, researcher, and associate at School of Oriental and African Studies in the University of Dublin, wrote about the link between war and increased military sales. So I quote, "For the defense industries, the campaign Operation Protective Edge in Gaza in 2014 gives them tremendous forward momentum. Combat is like the highest seal of approval when it comes to the international market. What has proven itself in the battle is much easier to sell." And that's how Israel have been selling, and still Ireland import stuff from these companies, and importing stuff as well from El Bait company, which is responsible of, even though they denied it, responsible of producing cluster bombs. And also they are the company that provided all technology that have been installed in the apartheid wall that they have built. And in 2004, the International Court of Justice and the UN deemed this wall to be against humanitarian and human rights laws. But still, Ireland seems to be importing goods from these companies, and they still pay for the maintenance for these things. Now, as a human rights activist, I always like to speak about the human rights element to things. So basically, in terms of international human rights considerations, the states are obliged to ensure that their actions do not aid or assist the commission of wrongful acts, including breaches of international humanitarian law. And that's a case we could make about Ireland's purchasing of military equipment from suppliers, from supplier state in a breach of international humanitarian law. And we all know that Israel is committing the worst wrong on earth, which is genocide. So buying goods from their arm industries and their companies means we're complicit. And that's very shameful, and that's something people don't really talk about, because all this information are not there for people to get access to. And I believe a Uplift report that have been published last month about Ireland-Israel trades, they have requested from the Department of Enterprise to give them some information about the names of the companies that they use trades with, and they withheld this information. Ireland has obligation to ensure that military equipment it purchases have not being used to commit war crimes. In the absence of any certainty, Ireland should abstain and terminate all contracts with these companies because staying in the grey area and say we're not sure about this and we're not sure about that. What we are sure about is that Israel is exterminating the Palestinian people. And that's something we're all sure about. And every penny we get from Ireland to Israel means we're complicit. We're aiding this system to continue to thrive, to be strong. And that's only shame on politicians. You recognize Palestine as a country. We welcome this. We're very happy with this. But recognizing us while at the same time you're not sanctioning Israel, who's finishing us, it doesn't make sense. We always hear in the news, in the local news back in Palestine, that Ireland or the Irish people are notorious in their support for Palestine. And I always say, no, the Irish people are notorious in their support for human rights in general. It doesn't matter if we are Palestinians or not. Ireland stands with all people who are losing their rights, who are being killed around the world. But also seems to be a huge disconnection between the Irish people and the Irish government. Because everything that the Irish people are calling for, the Irish government is either delaying or just finding some diplomatic answers. Like 6 months delay of the arms embargo is very shameful. You need to act now.
The election is coming.
Sorry?
The election is coming.
Yeah, the election is coming, but still we need something before the election. People are dying now. As we speak, there are people buried under the rubble. As we speak now, there are people dying of starvation. As we speak now, there are children who will never reach their potential because they've been starved to so many months. We believe the election might be a card to press on the government, but still, if we wait another 12 months, you don't know how many people would be in Gaza left. Yeah. So, let them out. We shouldn't wait for tomorrow. We should act now. We should act today. Yeah, and I would like to finish with a song in Arabic, but hopefully you could feel it. It's a rap song. So if you want to clap, if you want to dance, if you want to let some energy out, please do. So basically, in this song, I speak about abuses of human rights around the world in general. Yeah. طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى فيش عندي وقت فراغ وقت موزع بالدقيقة محصور بين شغلي مكتبتي والموسيقى كل اسبوع بقرا كتابين كل شهر بعمل لحنين بشتغل عشان اعيش واعرف سد كم مندين عايش في كمين اسمه الحياة بس عادي قد ما تقسى علي ببتسم وبظل هادي تعلمت اعيش سعيد او اتصنع السعادة خيمة عن خيمة بتفرق حتى لو كانوا بنفس الوادي من الولادة تعلمت انه الموت حق معادن البشر بتبين بس على المحك أنا مفكر نظر إذا بالصدفة بلمحك ولا بتوافق معك إذا مرة بوقف معك وبلمحك أنا أوعى من إني أبصبص على بنت الجيران لو مخي يفقع بنقش فلسفة على الحيطان قلبي شباب بس روحي عايشة من زمان شهدت سفينة نوح الأهرامات ومعارك الرومان أنا أعقد من اللي خلفك أعند من تخلفك أسوأ من تربية أمك أسود من مستقبلك أنا بسوق الشرف وبدعسك أنا بزيد القرف وببعسك أنا مانيش على الطرف بس ببلعك بس
بنزف منك بنخعك. انا بقتل مخك زي شظية مدفعية، زي خلية سرطانية، زي المناهج الإعلامية العالمية. بقتل مخك زي شهية رأسمالية، زي المنابر الترموية، زي مناهج أنظمتنا التعليمية. وبنتشر زي الفساد في الأمم المتحدة، زي حقوق الإنسان في تعاملهم مفتقدة. بنتشر زي الفقر في بلاد غنية بالموارد، ومهما أبعد بضل بارد برجع مثل بارد. طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى. قولوا أيوة طلحة كل ما يبعد برجع أقوى.
Thank you so much, Tala. That was incredible. The next speaker I'd like to welcome to the stage is Owen O'Canavan, who you'll probably all know because Owen always shows up. Owen is a talented and principled socialist and activist, a campaigner and organiser. He is a strong voice on Palestinian solidarity, as well as housing, environmental issues and workers' rights. Owen is a prominent member of People Before Profit. As well as that, Owen is also an award-winning singer, songwriter and multi-instrumentalist. In support of the Palestinian cause, Owen has organised mass movements on the street, campaigning for boycott, divestment and sanction, and an end to the military use in Shannon. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm going to sing a song called Only the Earth. It's based on a quote from James Connolly: our demands most moderate are, we only want the earth. And it's kind of originally written about the environmental crisis, but recently been singing for the Palestinian people who, even before this genocide was happening, the settler colonial state was destroying olive trees, destroying water supplies, stealing water. That this whole theft of Palestinian land is about the destruction of the Palestinian people, but also all of their culture, their lands, and it's all part of the same thing. So, and I think we have to say that a settler colonial state does not have a right to exist. An apartheid state does not have a right to exist. And a state that commits genocide certainly does not have the right to exist. So here's Only the Earth for a free Palestine from the river to the sea. Time is a place I wish I could leave. Tomorrow's cliff looming up at me. Today trodden water lost at sea. Yesterday's ghost snapping at my heels. These moneyed men would rule the ashes, and they take our home and melt it down. Pick the gold from the wreck of nature's palaces, but we have the love they cannot drown. Sick river, a wheezing forest, a choking lake, and a staggering mountain, the bleeding leaves with their open veins, the screaming trees and the sobbing flowers, the seething sea, the crumbling reef, the cliffs shed their tears into the poison ocean, and I'll get the round to hear the whale sing. It's the last whale song I want to be held. I will love you and the fragments. I'll tie our love to the last island.
the dancing wind. Before they sell us back the air we breathe, I will find our voice and they'll hear us sing. I will find our voice and they'll hear us roar. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Owen. And that song is from the album The Deepest Breath, and it's absolutely brilliant for anyone who hasn't listened to it. The next speaker I'd like to welcome is Ross McGann, who's going to speak on behalf of Method Consulting and Uplift on the report Ireland, Israel, Trades and Human Rights, published on the 26th of May. We're delighted to welcome Ross to speak about this important report, which details the recent sharp increase of the export of Irish goods to Israel, which could also be used for military purposes. This is what we mean when we use the term dual use. They account for 13% of Ireland's exports to Israel in 2023. The report also details Ireland's payment to Israel arms companies, including a current active contract for the maintenance of drones. The report also outlines how Ireland is in breach of its obligations under human rights provisions of EU procurement laws because of Israel's human rights violations. Welcome to the stage, Ross.
Very sorry, if you just give me one moment to grab that beast. Hey, buddy. There we go, we're all safe. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ross McGann. I am here to represent Uplift as well as Method Consultants. Over the last couple of months, we have engaged with Tanya Lawler there to do up a report into trade between Ireland and Israel. It has become very, very clear, as you have heard from all of these speakers here, even me dog on the street knows it, that we should not be continuing trade with Israel. It is very clear that the Irish government has the legislation and has the policy that they can use. They do not have the political willpower. And I believe the people here today are here to tell the Irish government to take action now. I want to hear you say it. What does the Irish government need to do? Take action now! Right, onwards and upwards. In Irish Defence Forces facilities, we currently have Israeli-made military drones. These are the same drones that we hear in the background of every video, from every child reporter, from every refugee camp in Gaza. Currently, the Irish government are paying nearly over €250,000 every year to the Israeli military contractors for those drones. The Irish government needs to rip up those contracts. The Irish government need to take action now. What do they need to do? Take action now. We've already spoken about dual use and dual use goods. Dual use can mean nearly anything. As we heard earlier on, the shells that are going into those tanks, they are dual use. In the same way, the 8 contracts that Micheál Martin put pen to paper and signed and approved since October of 2023 may as well be shells for those tanks. They are softwares, they are technologies that are going into these weapons that are targeting hospitals, that are targeting children, that are targeting refugee camps. Ireland needs to rip up those contracts. Micheál Martin needs to be held accountable. And what does the Irish government need to do? Take action now! So far, the Irish government have been accused by PhD researcher Leah Shamali, my apologies, of political gaslighting. We all saw 2 days after Simon Harris recognised the state of Palestine, on the floor of the Dáil, he was asked, what about the dual use? What about the trade? And he turned around and he said, I haven't got a clue. Simon Harris knows nothing apparently of this. So over 1,000 members of Uplift sent him our report via email, and yet he does nothing. Shame! Shame! There is blood on the hands of the Irish government. They are supporting a genocide. Simon Harris, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. Simon Harris, you can't hide. You're supporting genocide. The time for action is now. The Irish government can enact the arms embargo. They can enact the Occupied Territories Bill. They can divest from all Israeli financial institutions. The legislation is there. The laws are there. We have the power. There is no political will. That needs to come from Simon Harris and from Micheál Martin. So one more time, ladies and gentlemen, what do the Irish government need to do? Take action now! Again, take action now! Again, take action now! Thank you all very much for coming here today. Saoirse na Palestina, together we are Uplift, together we are the people power change. Thank you.
That's all from us, folks. Thanks a million for coming here today. And don't forget, if you do want to support the work of IPSC, you can donate to our website or speak to the people at the stall. Thank you so much.